go. We will go ahead and just thank our benefactors for 2021. We're very grateful for all of their support this year. All right, so we do want to just kind of check in and see who all we have on the call. So if you wouldn't mind just putting in the chat where everyone is calling in from. All right, Lexington, Kentucky, Toledo, Old West End. Great to have a few people. Toledo, yeah, it's great to have a few people from Toledo and around the rest of IIDA, Ohio, Kentucky. Mommy. All right. Oh, Bowling Green, Louisville, Kentucky at the University of Louisville. That's great. Okay, one more, just kind of get to know you, break the ice a little. What is everyone having for lunch since it's about lunchtime? Almonds, salad, mac and cheese. I'm looking forward to some avocado toast, hopefully, with eggs. Oh, Bree still needs to eat. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for participating. We just thought it'd be fun to kind of get to know each other a little bit before we get started. So first, I want to introduce Jessie Delventhal from the Senator Group, and she's going to talk with us today and share her experience with Alamere and the production facility there. So Jessie, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, let you share screen.
All right, hi everyone. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Let's share sound. All right, so I am Jessie and I am from, like Tiffany said, the Senator Group Alamere, and today what we're going to do is show you guys a little video just kind of explaining our showrooms and how the showrooms help us with our clients and get the products ready to be made in production. And then I'm going to do a quick just pass over of how us, the designers here, spec the product. And then we are going to take a virtual tour into our factory here in Maumee, Ohio. So here to begin, we have Mark Schneider, who is the president of Alamere, and he's just going to explain a few things about our showroom here.
Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome to Alamere. Alamere is a contemporary furniture manufacturer, and we're located right here in Maumee, Ohio. So what I'd like to do today is take you on a bit of a tour of our facility and help educate a little bit on what it takes in our industry to specify products. Okay, as you can see around me, I'm standing in our resource center, here, located here at our corporate office. You'll see a variety of products that we make. They're very contemporary in design. Very specifically, they're very European. I would go as far as to say they're very Scandinavian look because the design style comes from Northern Europe, which has a certain style. If you looked at things, contemporary styling that is similar, maybe on residential, you could look at something that would be maybe even IKEA, although IKEA would be a different design build. And hopefully you'll see the differences when I talk about something like that. An Alamere product, which is going to be designed for the commercial environment, that is designed to work in either corporate, it's also designed to work in hospitality, which would be hotel industry or restaurant industry. It's also designed to work in higher education, whereas a product along the lines of, say, maybe an IKEA is more designed for a residential market, not necessarily used for the commercial market where it services the general public in a public area. So hopefully today what we'll be able to do with you is take you through a virtual tour of our factory. You'll see how products are built, and hopefully you'll get a feel for the types of quality materials that go into building custom-built contemporary furniture. Jessie's also then going to take you through a specification process. The specification process is very step-by-step, different types of tools that are required to actually specify the product, not just from the type of product that's needed, but the finishes and the proper textiles that would go on products. Many times in products, as you look at the different shapes, especially with our types of products, they're very hard surfaces and very curved and very tightly upholstered. So as a designer, you have to look at the type of textile you're going to apply to it. You know, if it has a pattern, if it has a stripe, how it will actually look in the finished product. So today what we'll do is we'll step through those processes. And here's I'm standing in our resource center located in Maumee. And you'll see this is an area that we bring in a lot of people, designers. They come in from around the country to either see a mock-up of a setting that they're looking at specifying for a large project, or it can also be local dealers who want to see some products, and we'll set it up for that. So this is really not set up as a showroom environment, it's set up as a mock-up area to help with training and presentation materials. You're all invited to come visit us and see it. And then I'd also like to now take you to Chicago, where I'm going to introduce you to Chip. And Chip's going to take you on a quick tour of our Chicago showroom located in the Merchandise Mart. I think you'll find it very interesting, and hopefully you'll see the style and feel of what our product looks like in a showroom environment. Okay? And I'm going to take you over to Chip.
Good morning, IIDA Toledo. How is everybody doing on a beautiful day here in Windy City, Chicago? It's a slightly cloudy, but you are catching me in front of the Merchandise Mart. For those of you that had the pleasure to visit this amazing building, which currently stands at the second largest commercial building outside of the Pentagon. This is going to be a tour of the Alamere showroom shortly, but in the meantime, I'm going to let you take a look at this massive architectural feat in the style of Art Deco, and we can't wait to see you guys here relatively soon. So here we go.
All right, it's Jessie again. I just wanted to put this part in here because if you guys haven't seen this building in person, it is absolutely breathtaking. The size of it is insane. And when Chip was talking about this in the video, he actually said that the building has its own zip code, which I just think is so cool.
Okay, so come on in. We took over the showroom just under 3 years ago. This was a space occupied by a bigger showroom called Knoll. We left all the architectural elements of the core of the building intact, and we spray painted it white. And we can see the columns here, which is, you're going to run into a column every 20 feet in this space and anywhere else in the building for obviously construction purposes and durability. But
so I just kind of hit fast forward through our Chicago showroom here. And the reason why we wanted to show you guys the Chicago showroom, even though this is Design Around Ohio, Kentucky, is because even though we are headquartered in Maumee, Ohio, us designers here do a lot of work with our reps, much like Chip, in Chicago, in our showroom in New York, San Francisco. And so even though we are states apart, we still work a lot together. And I just think it's really interesting that we kind of get to share these showrooms and work together. And then I just wanted to put in a quick view of what Chicago looks like from our showroom. And then just a quick walk out with a quick overview. And so in this process, reps like Chip will bring clients here to help pick out what types of product they want for their space that they're looking to fill. And I'll just pause this quick. And I just want to kind of show you guys what the designers here at headquarters do. So after clients go with Chip and look in our showrooms and kind of decide what product they want to be using, they'll tell us, and a lot of times they'll want to see a visual representation of what they want. Maybe they want to see it in different fabrics, and then we will render whatever they want and pull it through our rendering system and send it on. And then we also do We populate floor plans, we'll do 2Ds and 3Ds for them, and then eventually we'll set up a quote for them. And once yes?
I'm unable to see that if you're sharing anything funky and cool.
Let me see here.
You might have to do stop share and then reshare. Oh,
Okay, so here, sorry guys. So this is my, oh, I see, new share. So can you guys see my screen?
We just see the YouTube.
Huh. Let me see. Stop.
AutoCAD, I saw it right there and it kicked off.
Okay. Sorry guys, I'm new to all this.
You're doing great.
So what I had, and let me know if you can see it. So what I was saying,
Beautiful.
if clients want to see a specific product or in a specific finish or in a different layout, they'll ask us to create renderings just for a visual representation of what they want. And then I also had, let me stop sharing, do a new quick share. And we will also populate floor plans for them to see, and we can create 2Ds and 3Ds just to make the decision process as easy as possible. And then once they have all of their decisions made, we will be sent an order for them. And once that order is sent in, we will start production for the products that they want. And so now I'm going to go back to the video and we can do a virtual tour of what the production looks like in the facility here in Maumee. So here we have our CNC cutting machine. And so what's happening here is whatever product that they are cutting the fabric for, it is put on that computer screen you saw before, and it is loaded onto this machine, and this machine will cut the fabric exactly the size that it needs to be for the product. And here we have another cutting machine, but this one is dedicated for leather and hides. As you can see, this hide has a very unique shape, and hides just so happen to have natural flaws and defects, and this machine is able to recognize those and cut the fabric that will be best used on our product in the most efficient way. And here we have pattern design and testing. So what he's doing here is testing patterns that clients might want on our products. And let's say there's a very stripy pattern or a very busy one. He's just making sure that it's going to look good on these products, and kind of what I showed you before with when we do our renderings here, it just to make sure that these patterns are going to look good. As you can see, a lot of our furniture in Alamir is really curved and large. So he's just making sure that it looks good, it can be used. And once we get the thumbs up for that, we will start the cutting process and the sewing process. So here, now we move on to sewing. So sewing is a very skilled trade in our industry, and it's very key to the quality build of the product that we are producing. As you can see, what she's dealing with right now is a very large piece of fabric. It's bulky and it can be hard to handle. So this is a very skilled trade. And what she's sewing right now is the bottom or the seat of a Haven bench, which is a pretty big product. And here we have the back of the Haven bench being sewn. So this is going to be the piece behind the seat. Again, it's very large and intricate to deal with. So after that, we move on to the gluing fabrication. So here we have our wooden base of our product. And what they're going to do is glue the foam seat on top. And what they're using here is actually not a glue, it's a water-based adhesive. So this is 100%, it's non-toxic to our environment, and it's actually non-toxic to our workers. They are wearing masks for COVID reasons. If they didn't have to, they wouldn't have to around this adhesive. That's how non-toxic it is. So once they have that on, they apply the foam and make sure to stretch it, and then it would start adhering. And after the top, they're going to put the sides on. There's just a quick view of that before it moves on to upholstery. So with upholstery, what he's doing now, this is the same Haven bench you just saw. He stretches it, makes sure it looks clean, there's no wrinkles. And again, this is a very skilled trade. They have to know how to upholster all of the products that go in and out of this factory, which is a lot. Right now, what he's doing is cutting a section out to be able to put that back piece on this Haven bench, what I was talking about earlier. And it actually takes about 2 years for someone to be fully efficient at this job. That's how long it takes. And right here is just an overview of all of our inventory we have to be able to make these products. And here is the finished product of what we were just seeing being upholstered, and it's waiting to be inspected, boxed up, and shipped out. And then here we have the packaging process. So a lot of care goes into the way we package our product. We want the outside of the packaging to look as good as the product does on the inside. And again, this product is going to be shipped all around our nation and even in Canada and Mexico. So we need to make sure that this product is not going to be moving around while it's being shipped to its new home. And here we have our product being put on a scale, again, getting prepped to ship. And what he's going to do here is apply a plastic wrap around, again, just to make sure it's secure. But that was kind of cool. And then after everything's packaged up, ready to go, it gets put in this holding room. And something cool about this holding room is the product that you see here, the way it's stacked up and ready to go, is the exact same way that it's going to be put into the semis to be delivered. So not only does this help to make the space in the truck more efficient and max out how much product we can put in there, it's also going to be easier for when delivered, so they know what product is going to come out in which order. And then here is just what it looks like, the product in a semi ready to go and be shipped off. And that is, that's about it. So that's the Alamure factory tour. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, or you can ask them after the presentation is over.
Great. Thanks so much, Jessie, for sharing all of that with everyone. I think it was so informative to see what your experience is as an interior designer and see more about the process of the furniture that's being specified and how it comes to be. Next up, I do want to introduce Brianna Callahan with the Collaborative, and she is going to share a little bit with us about her experience as an interior designer on a project that was recently completed here in Toledo. So it's the Keybank Discovery Theater at Imagination Station. So Bri, go ahead and take over.
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany and Jessie. That was amazing. I have been an interior designer for a while now, and I still haven't even really seen some of those things before. So it's so interesting to be able to walk through and see the piece go from start to finish.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to give a little presentation here of the key. Anybody to turn your camera on, ask any questions, interrupt me. This is just going to be kind of a free-flowing conversation. Mine's not going to be as structured as Jesse's was. Jesse's was so good. But yeah, just wanted to give a little tour. So this is the Keybank Discovery Theater at Imagination Station. If you are from the Toledo area, you probably had some field trips to the Imagination Station as a kid. The Science Center is always so fun to go to. This project was designed by Collaborative, which is where I work. I was on the design team to help design this space. The GC was also Lathrop, so that's who we worked with for that. So I'm just going to go through some existing conditions, then some of the program requirements, the design and reconciliation, construction, and then we'll show some completion photos at the end as well. And we have a nice little video too. So just to go through some existing conditions, this is an image from before of what the space looked like. So the entrance to the Imagination Station, ooh, hold on guys, let me get my pointer out. So entrance to the Imagination Station is actually through these doors here, and you go into this kind of rotunda. And then this part is actually the entrance into the whole rest of the Science Center. There was a need, this is the plan view obviously, there was a need for a continued connection between the Summit Street level as well as the riverfront. So keeping this kind of rotunda and this driving area was a need for the overall space. Also, you can kind of see highlighted next to the site was also the Renaissance Hotel, and this kind of section of trees and grass was hotel owned. And so that needed to be maintained during the entire construction as well. Another thing that we talked about with the City of Toledo as we were designing and coming up with designs is this pedestrian bridge that goes across. So this was part of a long-term design theme of actually removing this pedestrian bridge. So that is part of the project was taken out. But before you were able to kind of go up through some stairs within this rotunda and walk across the street on this covered bridge and then come down across on the other side of the street. So just going through some program requirements. So this is actually the lower level. This is the lower pedestrian area. This existing parking garage was something that was a need to stay in production and stay around. So a lot of the work that was done for this was honestly like over my head as the interior designer. It was a lot more the structural, a lot more those types of things. And the construction of the whole project started a lot earlier than what people think, only because most of it or a lot of it was underground. So you didn't see half the work that was being done, but this was a pretty strong and a pretty important piece to the overall design. As well, there's some loading docks and things like that to get some of the products up into Imagination Station, and then the pedestrian concourse, having that connection throughout the city. I don't know if anybody's gone down there, but you can walk pretty far underneath the City of Toledo, and that was a necessity based off of the City of Toledo's requirements for this project. So then up on the kind of main level, some of the programming needs were this big interactive or large scale theater. So it's kind of like an IMAX theater, but it's not an IMAX. IMAX is like the brand, kind of like Kleenex and tissue. But anyway, so this is the large scale theater that was a requirement to put in. There was also a need to maintain the gift shop that's a part of the Imagination Station, and relocating where that previously was to where it is now. Restrooms were also a big, important programming need, as well as the potential for a retail space. And with Summit Street being up here kind of more towards the top of the plan, they really wanted to invigorate the views of downtown and kind of have that connection between a building and the hopeful hustle and bustle of downtown Toledo. So they wanted people as they're driving by to be able to interact and see people, oh, what's that place over there? Oh, what's going on over there? They wanted to give some interest and keep that interest around. So some of the design and reconciliation. So this is the really close to the plan that we ended up with. So you can see we've got the main entrance right here, as well as the existing gift shop. We've got some tickets and concession stands needs for the theater, some storage. This theater is actually a 3D theater, so the need for those glasses and actually a place to clean those glasses between each use was needed. So this washroom here was something that was needed. Also, this connection goes back down to the lower pedestrian concourse area. So that'll take you down to the One Seagate building. So this whole connection is very important. Also, this kind of area here takes you down into the rest of the Imagination Station proper. This is where you can buy your tickets and all that kind of stuff. And then again, the restrooms, this is the stair that continues down into the pedestrian concourse. So you kind of come up this way, come through the Imagination Station, and then go back down into the pedestrian concourse. And then again, that retail space that highlights the downtown hustle and bustle. Oh, I did not realize that there was going to be all these. So this is an existing image here. So this is what kind of the main entrance into that rotunda area used to look like. And then if we go to the next photo, that's actually the same, pretty much the same location. So you can kind of see this column right here. This is the column that exists right here. So we took off a lot of that front rotunda area and then turned that into, reinvented the entrance, reinvented the gift shop area. And this is now what it looks like inside. This is kind of standing from the entrance with the entrance behind you when you're welcomed in. You can see the ticketing booth to go into Imagination Station. Beyond here is those stairs that go back down into the pedestrian concourse. We've got our retail with some concessions right here for the theater. We also have this is the entrance from the outside. So one of the things that we talked about when designing was how to invigorate the exterior of the building, even at night, at all times of the day. So we kind of put this, backlit frosted glass unit over the door that changes colors, and that can be, it can stay static or it can be color changing, kind of like you see now, where they can change the color for the different holiday. If they have an event that somebody's booked there, they can change the color to match that. But yeah, so that's kind of the entrance, the new main entrance there. And then this stair on the right is, there used to be a couple of escalators here that would take you up. And I don't know if anybody's ever walked through that way, but the escalators were literally always broken. And so you just have to walk up them like stairs anyway. So they decided to just take those out, put in normal stairs. There is an elevator off to the side here as well. So, so that meets ADA requirements. But yeah, this is the entrance that goes up into the Imagination Station from the pedestrian concourse. This is just another look at kind of the overall requirements from the city. So we've got this big kind of massing of the new building here. You can see Summit Street running kind of north to south. This Adam Street visual corridor was, again, that piece that was really important to the city of Toledo, keeping the visual connection down to the river through the city of Toledo. And this is just kind of a nice view that describes how the pedestrian concourse works, from the Summit Street side. So you come up through the existing pedestrian concourse. We had to put a firewall down here to create some sort of a barrier between these spaces. And then you come up and you are welcomed into the new lobby area. And you can kind of see this kind of describes how the backs of the theater seats kind of create this reclaimed space underneath for the use of the concession stand, as well as that retail space that I talked about earlier. So this is what that existing rotunda looked like. This is what it looked like down here before we put that 2-hour fire barrier. I don't know if anybody's ever walked down here before, but again, it was a little sketch, a little creepy. It's so much better now. Like, yeah, go check it out if you get the chance. And then this is what that new lobby area looks like. So this will take you down into that 2-hour fire rated area. This is our new elevator shaft that will take you down from the lower area up to this level. This backlit frosted glass elevator core as well can be, like I said, can be backlit to match the front of the entrance as well. And then this is that retail space off to the side that we claimed in from Summit Street. So this is just some more visuals of how the theater worked. You can see how the stairs kind of stepped up and how this almost triangular or trapezoidal space gets used. It was a little difficult trying to figure out the dimensions of the screen in this space, because every time you made the screen bigger, there's a certain angle of how the screen needs to be, and then the angle of the steps, because the 3D glasses need to work perfectly with the way the projectors come in, with the way the screen is, with the way the seats are. We worked with a consultant to help us. But yeah, this was just a big factor in helping to design this. And you can see this is what it turned out to be here. Another point that I already kind of spoke to, but this is the retail space that was claimed underneath. Barry's Bagels actually ended up going in here. So if anybody who works in downtown or wants to come visit downtown needs a bagel, feel free, go check out Barry's. But yeah, they're the ones that are now in this retail space. So this is just looking at the exterior. With the way that the theater kind of works, you obviously can't have any windows, you can't have any, there's just some difficulties with making the outside of a big box interesting. So we kind of came up with this screening idea that has some folds in it. And then at night it could be backlit and show some of that structure behind. We actually even looked at the idea of potentially projecting onto this screening, so that way they could project some large ads or some large upcoming movies or whatever onto this onto that screening. And then that's just a fancy rendering of where we actually ended up with the screening. Just a couple of construction notes. So as you can see here, this is the phasing of the demolition. So you can see the big pedestrian bridge that went across and how that was removed. And then everything you see in pink here, this was also removed. It was pretty interesting. So this is kind of a slow motion or stop motion video of how they took this bridge out. So I think they did this all in like one night or basically like one weekend. You can see they've got, this is when Summit Street was still active as well. I don't know if anybody has been downtown recently, but Summit Street is a hot mess. And this is when Summit Street was still working. So they had to do pretty much all of this at night, and they took it out in chunks and pieces. And I left work on Friday and it was there, and then I came back on Monday and it was gone. It was a pretty crazy endeavor, but that's how they took the bridge out. These are just some construction images that you can see of them installing the big steel beams for the seats in the theater. because the theater is so big and tall, in order to really put up any sort of ceiling elements, they actually had to construct I think what we called a dance floor. So you can see all of this structure here, all this scaffolding is holding up a temporary floor that was about 9 or 10 feet below what we wanted the ceiling to be. So you actually had to climb up these stairs right here and go all the way up, and then you were on a temporary floor that then the contractors could then install the ceiling tiles, install all the sound equipment, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, in order to do that. And then we had to go in and do a punch list for the ceiling itself, just so that they were approved to take the scaffolding down before, because otherwise there's no way to fix anything up there. So you just kind of have to make sure it's good the first time. These are just some images of the ADA ramp that we had to put in here. There was one version of our overall plan where we had some offices up on a second level that you could access from the top of the theater, access with the elevator. However, due to VE reasons, we took some of those offices out, and we did not take the elevator all the way up to the second level. So because of that, we needed to have ADA access for people within the theater here. So that meant we had to put an ADA compliant ramp within this theater. So that's how you can see this going up, and then they can sit up here. Another thing to consider, because this was going to be such just an intense theater, it's a fully immersive theater. They were really concerned about sound and sound transfer between this space and the rest of the Science Center or Barry's Bagels. And so we did end up putting, so this black kind of tufted wall here, this is actually behind the screen, and there is, that's actually sound acoustical baffling behind there that'll help absorb a lot of that sound. And then all of these rectangles along the sides of the wall are also acoustic panels, as well as the ceiling being acoustic. One fun thing to bring up, I can't remember if we touch on it later in the presentation, but this door right here is at the stage level, and the screen that they put in right here, it comes in just one big roll. So they got a box delivered that was like 2 feet by 2 feet by 40 feet. And they brought in the screen and rolled it in through this door right here, and then unrolled it and had it hanging up. So that door was pretty key for some of the installation of some of these things. And then I will just show really quickly. All right, can you guys see this video screen here? It's black right now, but.
Not yet.
Can we see it now?
I think we're still looking at the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay, hold on. I will do a stop and then I'll do a reshare. All right, can you guys see? Okay, good. All right, so this is just a little video. I'll just kind of talk over it for a couple little points, but this is a video of some of the certain spaces. And I think this first beginning shot is really nice too, because it shows you the transition from the existing and to what we have now. Another thing that was really nice was Imagination Station decided to repaint the exterior of the whole rest of their building, which was really nice because then it kind of matched the new addition, and there wasn't that kind of royal blue and peach color anymore, if anybody remembers that or knows what I'm talking about. You can see some of that screening along the exterior. So coming in that main entrance, again, you can see the gift shop to the right, concessions in front of you. There's the elevator shaft as well as the stairs going down to the pedestrian concourse, and then the retail space beyond. One of the things that was pretty difficult in that area was the existing conditions of the flooring. So we wanted to do a polished concrete within there. However, the previous tile that was in there was a thick set tile. So they put in a big bed of mortar and then just pushed the tiles into the bed of mortar. And that created a horrible subfloor, and it was pretty much unreconcilable. So we ended up going with a terrazzo look tile over top, which I think turned out okay. There you can see kind of that's the existing structure that they pulled back and connected to. Here's some of the lower level. A lot of this is more of a structural video too, but it's still pretty interesting. You can see this is the loading dock, parking area below. This is kind of a shaft underneath the theater seats. So we've got fireproofing up there. That's the entrance into the theater through this door here. You can see the ADA ramp going up. Very large screen, projection room up on top. That's a view from the projection booth. One of the things that we had to change here too was we originally had green exit signs above those doors there. And when they turned all the house lights off and everything, that green light was so bright that it was almost throwing off some of the visuals for the screen. So we ended up having to change it to a red exit sign. Again, just some more exterior shots. You can see some of the folds within that screening there. That's pretty much it. So I will stop my share, but does anybody have any thoughts or questions or anything? Feel free to turn your camera on, to say anything. Anybody any comments about mine or Jesse's too?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting, both presentations. I learned something new in both of them. So, well, a lot of new things, I should say, not just, one thing, but thank you. It was really interesting.
Great. Thanks,
Thank
Pat.
you.
Wait, Cassandra, are you saying something? You're on mute.
Oh, sorry, I clicked it on accident. I was
Okay.
saying I'm a student, and it was really awesome to watch because we're working on these projects right now where we're just having to create new things, and it was really interesting to watch the process of a large scale project. I mean, right now in school, it's all these little bitty it's not little bitty, but residential or
Right.
small 600 or 1,000 square foot retail spaces. So it's interesting to watch the effort and work that have to go into such a large project, and all the different types of people that have to get involved when you get to that level. including with Jesse, having a retail or not retail space, showroom spaces where you have to go in and the clients can actually pick out what furniture they want. And that's sort of our goal for my cohort, is to be able to go to Chicago and do that tour where we can, from Louisville, to go see that building and go take that tour.
Yeah.
We haven't chance yet, but because we're COVID students, yay.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully we'll get to do that. So thank you, ladies. That was great.
Yeah, definitely. I think part of what I really like about being an interior designer too is being able to work with such a broad range of people. I mean, like we work with engineers, architects, site designers, landscape architects, city planners, but then also that's kind of the macro scale. And then the micro scale too, we work with people like Jesse and Emma and people who do more of the furniture side and kind of that micro view as well. So yeah, being an interior designer, you really get to like speak to and see the whole design, which is pretty cool. That's why one of the reasons why I like being an interior designer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and obviously they constantly talk about the importance of research. Our professors are always talking about research. And so I thought that was interesting how you pointed out that you had to have a specialist come in to talk to you about the screen and the height of the chair or the height of the seating in, collaboration with the screen to make sure it was correct with the 3D glasses. Like we don't know that step unless you go and ask somebody or get research about it. We're not going to just know that. They don't teach you that in school. So yeah, research is so important.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to utilize your consultants is pretty key. Having a lighting consultant, having a theater consultant, having an acoustics consultant. Those people are really going to be the experts because yeah, I feel like, again, as an interior designer, we know a little bit about a lot of things. And it's basically just, you make sure you know enough that you are proficient in what you're doing and then know who to ask when you're trying to figure something out. As long as you know who to ask, then I think you'll be able to figure it out.
All right, well, great. Well, I think we had a few more questions ready for you. So for both Bree and Jesse, what do you enjoy most about your job?
I mean, there are a lot of aspects that I like, but I think sometimes it's kind of refreshing and nice to get a project where we have to like populate a floor plan and there's either like not a space issue, but almost a restraint to work around, kind of like a puzzle. I love projects that kind of pick at your brain a little bit and you come up with different options for someone to pick from and you're able to get really creative with it. That's something, because interior design is such a creative field. There's a lot of creative aspects to it. So situations that allow you to be even more creative, I love, honestly. It's really cool.
Yeah, I would just second what Jesse said. Yeah, I think being able to be creative is the biggest draw for me. I wanted to be an art teacher for like a long time growing up. And then my mom was a teacher and she kind of maybe steered me away from being a teacher, which I'm a little bit thankful for because I found something that I love. But yeah, being able to be creative, I think is huge. And being able to create a space from nothing. It still kind of like blows my mind sometimes that we all do this, that we can just create, take what a client needs and be able to create a space that fits their desires and fits their needs within a budget, within time constraints, within what am I thinking? Within engineering guidelines, all those things, all those constraints, I think it's great. That's why I like it, being creative.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, thank you all for sharing. I think we had one more question, and it was just, thinking back to when you were studying interior design in school, what was the biggest difference, or what is the biggest difference between the projects that you had in school and the things you were learning then to what you're doing now from your day-to-day?
I mean, kind of what Cassandra said, how the projects she's working on in her classes are smaller than kind of what Bree was talking about, which are at a larger scale. I think that's really interesting to think about. And then also deadlines. I know we were talking about this earlier, just having actual, I know when things are due, but when someone else needs something from you, it's different than in school. So it's kind of that job aspect. But other than that, I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
things are the same.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is the same. I think one of the biggest differences, kind of like what Jesse was saying, is having these like constraints. So having to work with a
Budget.
client. Most of the time when you're in school, the client is kind of like you. You can decide what you want, what you don't want. So having a client, having a budget, that's a huge one. Again, timeline, and then also like working within, I keep saying like engineering restraints, but I just remember like in school, you didn't really have to plan for columns and you didn't really have to plan for HVAC. And now it's like, okay, well, I would really love to have this great, nice view and this nice entrance, but how are we gonna get air to it? Okay, so then we need to somehow figure out how HVAC is gonna get in. And so working around those kinds of constraints, it's a really crazy puzzle that just gets crazier as you get more into it. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference, is just working within these like real world restraints compared to school where you can just kind of do what you want.
All right, I think that those are both really helpful answers. I do want to see, is there any other questions out there before we kind of wrap up for the day? Okay, great. I'll take that as a no. So thank you both, to Brianna and Jesse, for sharing your experience in the interior design industry. And big thank you too to the students and other industry professionals that have joined us today. I hope this gave you a little bit of a glimpse into what Bri and Jesse have going on right now. And that this was able to give you an opportunity to ask some questions as well. So to go ahead and wrap up here, oops, I did want to just put in a little plug that we really invite the students to join the IIDA and become a member, and are always looking to bring in new student members to help share with them the benefits of being a member, and to help provide some mentorship and new experiences outside of what they're learning inside the classroom. So I did just put a little bit of the items here that are part of the IIDA membership for students. And if you have any questions about joining, I did have our email there. That's to both Jesse and I, the IIDA student relations for Toledo. We're happy to answer any of the questions for you. So to wrap up though, we do want to announce our winner for the gift card giveaway. So our winner today is actually, that was selected, is Cassandra Ross. So congratulations. We'll reach out with with the details that are in your invite, Eventbrite information. So we'll reach out today and get that information to you. But otherwise, thank you again for joining us. And I did want to note that as a part of the virtual Design Around Ohio, Kentucky, there is one last event towards the end of the month on March 29th with Blue Lex City Center. So we encourage everyone to join in that last City Center event. And then, yeah, otherwise, thank you all for joining us today. It was great to get to know you all and share this time together. And otherwise, we'll let you all go. So thank you.
Thanks,
Tiffany.
Tiffany.